CJ, the painkiller.
Kevin Jackson. So we need to start acting like a big boy football. It's time for the jet packs to die.
You're listening to Weapons Hot on Sports War Radio and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Darnold fires one into the end zone. It is caught. That's a jet touchdown.
And now here is your host, CJ, the Painkiller, D. Simone, and Kevin Jackson.
What's going on, Jets Nation? Welcome to another edition of Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast. I'm your host, CJ, the Painkiller, D. Simone, here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network and Sports War Radio. And ladies and gentlemen, normally I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Kevin Jackson, but unfortunately he is tied up in a little bit. He will be joining us momentarily a little bit later on. So, nevertheless, it's time to get talking to some Jets football. All right, we got training camps, which just opened up, and all of that goodness, all of this pent up. The word I guess I would call it is the pent up aggravation that the New York Jets have bestowed upon their fan base throughout this entire offseason. The anticipated moves that the Jets have made. It's all coming down to this, ladies and gentlemen. It's all coming down to this. We finally have our organized team practices. We've got a list of different things that we're going to be talking about this evening. And, of course, I've got a very special guest in. As you can see him up on the screen, and I want to bring him in the right way, and then we can get the show going. All right, so key up a little bit of music here.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the show from the Gift Up Football Podcast on YouTube.com. Put your hands together for Mr. John Gifford.
Thank you, CJ. Thank you for bringing me on the show. I'm looking forward to getting through these discussions today. And I know your partner in crime's not here, but the BPI is out on me on the street. They got me in here with you today, and I'm looking forward to it. A lot to get to here. And we got a lot of stuff that's happened. The Jamal Adams trade. We got CJ Mosley opting out, the Jets going in maybe so much questionable directions, a lot to get to. But I want to thank you again for having me on the show, and I'm looking forward to talking about the Jets here. So with that, let's get to Jamal Adams first. And yeah, I want to start with that because, and a week before this all happened, I made a video expressing the same concerns that came out that Jamal Adams said and when he got traded. He was asking the questions about the coaching staff, why they're not more player-orientated, why they're not spending time with the players, why Adam Gase is sending Gregg Williams and other coaches to do his bidding for him. And that's why I'm concerned. I'm concerned about the Jets going forward here with Adam Gase to start the discussion. And Jamal Adams, well, I think a lot of Jets fans think it's about the money. I think it's about other things. I think it's about winning football games. And I think Adam Gase needs to be held accountable here a little bit. I don't think Jamal Adams is that far-fetched in his statements. I don't think it was all about the money.
All right. You're going to need to elaborate on that a little bit because obviously, I think that it was not only about the money, but I think that Jamal Adams was just intent on finding a way to get out of New York. Now, I don't understand what it was, if it was one singular event or if it was a series of events which caused all of these things to happen at this point. I just think that, in my opinion, Jamal Adams had way too many people chirping in his ear and way too many people kind of guiding him or giving him some information which may or may not have been correct. Because, listen, you and I, we talked briefly off the air, and I've watched a couple of the videos that you put together, and you know what? I find your views on the team incredibly fascinating. So now I find it fascinating because of some of the negative views, which, believe it or not, there are substantial premises to them. But then there are also other parts where, in regards to Adam Gase and the entire Jamal Adams situation, where I kind of find both people at fault. I don't put the blame solely in the lap of the New York Jets. I solely don't put the blame on Jamal Adams and his frustration with the team, because to me, as a fan, I want to know exactly where all of this frustration came from. How did it all start? Because this simply wanting to be wanting to be taken out of New York, wanting to be traded from the New York Jets, could not have all been started from Gregg Williams picking up the phone at the trade deadline for people that were inquiring whether or not Jamal Adams was I don't want to say for sale, or if the Jets were interested in dealing Jamal Adams. I just don't buy it. I think it's bullshit. And if that is the cataclysmic event that sent Jamal Adams over the edge on this entire tirade that he just completely went through for the past 2.5 months, then are we looking at a bigger picture? Is there a bigger problem within this organization than it's being reported? Because I personally don't think so. If Jamal Adams did not want to play for Adam Gase, then he wouldn't come out at the end of last season after the Jets finished 6-2 and make comments like, we're building something here. I'm looking forward to getting back in here next year. He would have been like, I want out. I don't want to be here. So, and that didn't happen. It just did not happen. So I find a lot of that bullshit. I really do. Because I think that if Jamal Adams seriously wanted to get out of New York, then instead of him crying about, well, the Patriots consider Tom Brady untouchable, this team considers so-and-so untouchable, I should be considered untouchable on this team. That's not, to me, sounding how someone who wants their way out of New York. So what are your thoughts? Tell me.
Yeah, I think it's somebody that wants to win football games. And look, again, I have no ill will towards the New York Jets. Again, we were talking pre-show. I want them to give me something positive to go on. And the things that I'm looking at go beyond star players than just Jamal Adams. See, now this isn't just his comments here now. And right. I'm not even close to the team. And I said everything that Jamal Adams said a week before he said them, because I'm getting bad vibes from the coaching staff, from the front office, from them not building up this defense, for them not building up this offense. They got a franchise quarterback that they don't put players around. Okay. And I'm sitting there wondering, what the hell are they doing? And then it gets deeper, though, than just Jamal Adams. It gets to CJ Mosley. Now, look, here's another rumor that's going around. Last year, was he really hurt? Now he opts out. Maybe he doesn't want anything to do with this train wreck. Then I look at Le'Veon Bell. Adam Gase was, to the national media, said that he misused Le'Veon Bell through the first half of last season. But guess what? He misused him through the entire season and didn't even want him to begin with for the money that they paid him. And that's on record. That's not me making stuff up.
Right.
That's right. On record. So I'm looking at all these star players leaving, and I'm looking at Adam Gase and his crazy eyes. I'm looking at the ownership, Christopher Johnson, Joe Douglas in the front office. I'm looking at them and allowing a coach like this to take the helm here. Now, last year, remember when the New York Jets upset the Dallas Cowboys? Mm-hmm. I actually picked that on the podcast, just not that that's a record, but all the players were gravitating towards Gregg Williams on the sideline, offensive and defensive players. Okay. And then I hear Jamal Adams come out saying Adam Gase is telling players when they have a problem, well, go talk to Gregg Williams. Go talk to another coach. So I'm not going to be a player coach. I'm not going to put you in the best position to win. Then I'm waiting for things to change. All these star players have left. I wanted to bring up the fact that Demario Davis was once a past Jet.
Right.
Just saying all the star players that have left, because Jamal Adams, Demario Davis, I think about what kind of difference that would have made if they would have stayed with the team. CJ Mosley on the roster, that would have made a difference. But they don't want anything to do with this organization, where it's headed. The concerns, I can't just, block out these concerns with me. And then I'm trying to look forward to this season, and I'm looking for good things to say. In a passing league, they don't have a pass rush. Offensively, right. Darnold has no supporting cast, and they don't utilize the one star player they do in Bell. Trying to find positive things to say, I can't find them.
Well, here, let me see if I can give you a little bit of positivity. Okay. Now, as far as the rumor for CJ Mosley opting out, we all know that he's opting out because of COVID. That's been the number one factor in a lot of players who have opted out. Now, if there's more to that story, then shame on CJ Mosley for not coming public with it. Now, CJ Mosley had no problem putting his name on the contract, okay, for that mega deal that Mike McCagnon sent him to. And we've got exactly 3 quarters out of the man in almost 2 years' time. So that's a joke right off the bat. So I don't buy any rumors about CJ Mosley not wanting to be here, not wanting to be a part of this train wreck. He had no problem taking the money. Okay. Mike McCagnon stood in the doorway of one Jets drive with a huge tray of cupcakes for Donta Hightower 3 years ago, trying to sign him away from the New England Patriots. And the Jets were by far and away the one team that would have grossly overpaid to have that man come play for them. He decided to stay in New England. People that don't want to play for the New York Jets are not going to play for the New York Jets. It does not matter what they write. It does not matter what the number is on the check. If they don't want to play here, they're not going to play here. And that's regardless of the GM. Hang on. I'll give you a second. And that's regardless of the GM, regardless of who's coaching. Because there were some players that didn't want to come here and play here because Todd Bowles was here. And they saw that the team was a train wreck. So what's his excuse? Okay, look, I'm not a fan of Adam Gase either. I've gone on record and I've said that. All right? But he's the head coach of the New York Jets right now. And I'm not going to root for this team to go 1-15 because I want the guy to get fired. I want this team to win. I would love nothing more than for Adam Gase to prove everybody wrong and for the Jets to go 10-6 next year and get a wild card berth. So I get the whole angst that was going on where Adam Gase was sending people to Gregg Williams and to talk about different things. But it's my understanding that there are a lot of coaches in the league that do that. And even successful coaches do that. So I don't know whether that has to do with creating the locker room angst or not, but I definitely will say this. There's only so much that we can rail on Adam Gase or that we can hold Adam Gase responsible for. But for Jamal Adams leaving town, for these players opting out because of COVID, that's not on Adam Gase. So, and I think that's unfair criticism. And look, I don't like the guy. All right. But he's the head coach of the New York Jets right now. And I want this team to be successful. And if he's the guy to put it together, then it's his responsibility to put it together. If he doesn't, then I'm sure that Joe Douglas has got a set of balls that he's going to say, look, it's not working out. Well, but right now, there's also one thing too, that we finally have a head coach and a GM that are on the same page. When was the last time that we had that, Johnny? Tell me.
Well, I don't agree with that I think they're on the same page, because I think that's exactly why players want to leave right now, because there is no certain clarity in the future with the Jets. And I don't see how Adam Gase and the front office are on the same page when all these star players are leaving. Now, CJ Mosley, that's one player that opted out. But what I'm talking about goes much deeper. Jamal Adams was by far the biggest impact player on the defensive side for the Jets last year, right?
Right.
No doubt about that. And they let him go. Demario Davis, one of the better linebackers in football, they no longer have him. I look at the defensive line. They don't have a 10-sack pass rusher in a league that's built on passing the football now, where the rules are stacked for the quarterback and offense to succeed. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, so how am I supposed to get behind this? Like you say, like, yeah, the coach and the GM are on the same page, but I don't buy that, man. And I think that's why the players are leaving and why we see star players exiting the Jets and nobody coming in. Nobody wants to come to the Jets. No free agent wants to come to the Jets because it's not a winning culture. They got to give us a reason to do that. Now, if we look at this team from top to bottom, like receiver, one of the weakest receiving cores in the league. I mean, we can't even debate that. Mims is already hurt. You know that. This offensive line, if Mekhi Becton doesn't end up being good, this O-line's not going to be able to get it done. Adam Gase misusing Le'Veon Bell, and he's on record at saying that. Frank Gore has already shown with Buffalo that he can't get through a full season. So we can't even really hang our hat on that and say, yeah, he can even be a piece. Defensively, again, I mean, how are they going to get after the quarterback? Those are the questions that I have and I think that's what drives players away from this team. It's not because I hate the Jets. I have no ill will towards them, but they have got to have reasons for players to want to stay here.
All right. So now, I mean, some of the points that you just made, I completely agree. I agree with to an extent, but here's the thing. Just because Jamal Adams left or Jamal Adams was traded, again, it all circles back to him because we've put so much emphasis on he was the best player on this team, and we basically traded him.
Yeah.
But we didn't trade him for nothing. It's not like we didn't get a bag of balls for him.
Yes, but okay, can I, CJ, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to, because this goes really good into what you're trying to say, and I have to make my argument here. But what are they going to do with these 2 first-round picks? Are they going to draft another Leonard Williams, another Quinnen Williams that can't get to the quarterback and overdraft somebody? Mekhi Becton, I felt like, wasn't even the top tackle coming out this year. Tristan Wirfs was far more appealing to me coming out this year. Andrew Thomas was far more appealing at tackle. I'm just saying. So, yeah, they get 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams that actually, was a big impact player for this team. But what are they going to do with him? Denzel Mims already hurt.
Right. Well, I have my theory on that, but I also have something else that I want to talk about in regards to. We'll save that for the training camp talk. I do want to welcome to the show my co-host, who's finally on here. We're waiting for his box to appear and his audio, and I'm very interested to hear what his takes are going to be on some of the things that we just talked about here. So
excellent.
Which there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host is finally in the building. Put your hands together for Mr. Kevin Jackson.
Okay.
When he comes on, Johnny, this is what he does all the time. All right, I put that music on and I get him going. He comes
Look,
in shit eating.
I can't even begin to explain. First and foremost, thank you for the introduction. I know I don't deserve it. I have to apologize first off, and I'll just wrap this up. I have a fairly active church life, and we've got some sick and shut-in folks because of the COVID-19 that we got some work to do. So you have to excuse me. I've been running kind of all day. I am very, very sorry, especially my apologies to our guest. Please excuse me, obviously, much more respect. And I thank you for coming and being here. And I'm so sorry that I'm behind the times right now. So, but CJ.
You got a lot. To
look,
catch up on.
I love the fact that there are certain silver linings that we can pull from such a ridiculous time that we live in, especially with the COVID-19. You being a warrior on the front line, CJ, you know, I always tell you respect. Big ups to you, my man, because without folks like you and people doing what it is that you do, the problem that we do have would actually be a lot worse than what it is. So thank you. But I'm trying to do my part here. You know, we have some elderly folks who can't move and can't do some things. So we schedule some stuff, and let's get back to football, man. That is what it is. But you know, thank you, and again, please, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm it's good to be here. Thank you. So what have I missed? Talk to me.
Johnny, really quick, just for a recap for what you and I have been talking about for the last 20 plus minutes here, just to kind of get Jax up to speed. Please, just in a nutshell, give your opinion on the Jets and Jamal Adams and so on and so forth, and also, you know, the CJ Mosley, the front office and stuff. So just kind of as we kind of compress that a little bit, you know, as best you can for me, so that way I'm very curious to hear what my co-host response to that is going to be.
Well, what we were just talking about free agents wanting to come to the Jets and being an enticing place to come, and the questions that I had that counteract that, I think that's a great place to start. So Jamal Adams leaves, and yes, the Jets get 2 first-round picks. They have capital to spend. Will they spend them the right way? We'll see. Yeah. But the things that Jamal Adams said when he left, I don't think that it can just go untouched. Adam Gase, first and foremost, letting other coaches handle player personnel issues. If a player's got a problem, he should feel like he should be able to go to his head coach, right? I mean, I want to start with that. And then CJ Mosley, the injury last year, was he really hurt? This year he opts out. Did he really want a part of this train wreck? Question that has to be put up to discussion. I also question Christopher Johnson, the owner, CEO, Joe Douglas, the GM, for bringing talent into the Jets and making it possible for other free agents to want to come here. And I want it, and then the picks too. I mean, the picks that they got from Jamal Adams, I want to know if they're actually going to make the most out of those picks. Yeah. Denzel Mims already hurt. Mekhi Becton, we'll see that if he can end up being a legit starting tackle. Although, again, Andrew Thomas, Tristan Wirfs, I felt like were better talented tackles coming out this year. Yeah. So I don't even know if the Jets are going to be able to spend those picks in the right way. And I just look at all the star talent that's left the Jets. Yeah. CJ Mosley doesn't want nothing to do with this. Jamal Adams gone. Demario Davis wasn't that long that he was here. Yeah.
But Demario Davis, I wouldn't consider a star, though, Johnny.
Yeah, you know what?
But wait. Quinnen Williams.
He's become a star since he's left.
Well, I only got one more thing to say, because Leonard Williams, Quinnen Williams, they wasted picks on too, because they thought that they were going to be the Aaron Donald at DT, and they were completely wrong about that. So So now that I've laid that out, why should any free agent want to come to the New York Jets? I want to know why. To look at Adam Gase's bug eyes?
Yeah. Who is this guy? Who is this guy?
Can you at least let me know what is appealing right now about the Jets? I mean, I want to know.
You know what, John?
Is that a hard question? That's a pretty simple one.
No, actually, that's a very simple question. And I'm going to say this just because this is really how I feel about this. You have hit the nail on the head 3 or 4 times already. All right. The thing is already banged in. There's a big ass dent in the wood in the whole 9. I'm telling you right now, because you really have touched on quite a few things that, because it's the Jets, maybe people are trying to, or some of our most optimistic fans, we'll just put it that way, they're glossing over. Okay, because everybody wants to believe that this is going to be, you know, a turnaround season. Everybody wants to think that we're in good in a good position when it comes to the talent and the depth and all of that. And even me myself on this podcast, if you listen, CJ, you know, CJ can back me up on this. I've said this a few times. If everything that has been put in place works exactly as we hope that it does, we'll be a good team.
Yes, absolutely.
But also, I've said this. This is the New York Jets.
Well, it is. There is no doubt about that. But see, now here's the thing. I want to be positive though too, because I want to say the positives about this team, because I don't want to sound like I'm going to be completely negative, because I'm not. Because I take the good and the bad. I am given what I'm dealt with here from the organizations. And this isn't even my money that's being spent, and I feel the way I do. Imagine what these billionaires feel like.
Right.
So, all right. So Sam Darnold, legit franchise quarterback. I honestly believe that. He's tough, stands in the pocket, gets it done.
Yeah.
What did they do to help him out? Can you go ahead?
If I were to say that, I would say offensive line first and foremost. Again, unproven, still a huge question mark, probably the question mark, because everything else actually really kind of falls in line behind. Has Joe Douglas done what it is that he's needed to do to solidify the pocket around Sam Darnold? Again, we say franchise quarterback. I believe in that. I'm a USC guy. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in California. I was born in New York, obviously spent a lot of time there, went back and stayed and lived. And my roots, my family, my heart is still in New York, always with the Jets. But, being in California, you kind of come to some things, and USC was one of those things. I watched USC every single year. So I saw Sam Darnold come up. I saw Sam Darnold be good. I've listened to my boys, the guys who I still know and talk to. They're talk to me about this kid. So, I mean, I get it. Sam Darnold's a franchise quarterback. If he has 2.5 seconds, he can be an elite quarterback in this league. He didn't have 2.5 seconds last season. Does he have it now? With what it is that Joe Douglas did with the offensive line, does that make a difference? That in itself, that means that the question about Le'Veon Bell and his role on this team, is he going to be effective? He couldn't be effective behind that offensive line. If the offensive line is improved, Le'Veon Bell is improved. If Le'Veon Bell is improved, who else is better? Sam Darnold.
Well, that's where I wanted to bring up that question too about Le'Veon Bell again, because why didn't Adam Gase draw up plays? Why didn't Adam Gase draw up plays for him to catch the ball out of the backfield and get creative with it?
This is a trickle-down thing. And I think, and because I believe that point, I've asked that question to myself. The reason why maybe he didn't attempt to is because he couldn't, because we didn't have an offensive line. That again is kind of where this starts. We've seen all of these guys flash enough talent to say that they can be good. If the offensive line gives them an opportunity to be more consistent with what it is that they flash with, we are a better team. We're a better organization. We're better everything. We're not a laughing stock. And that in itself is what entices free agents. We're not there yet, though. That's the problem.
Right.
That again is the issue.
And I'll let CJ chime in because we've been talking a while. For the offensive line, though, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. It's just at the same time, you could say that about any team. Like any team could wish the O-line was better, but at the same time, like look at Dallas with Dak Prescott, just as an example. Yeah. How good remember his rookie season, how great that was because the O-line was doing everything. Remember Jerry Goff? That O-line actually got him paid, and now that they're gone, they're in turmoil. See, now everybody could say that about the O-line, but for me, it's really just about the fact that Darnold's a franchise quarterback, and I believe they just need to put weapons around him. Like they need to do better than Denzel Mims and Brashad Perryman.
Yeah,
I actually like Chris Rendon though at tight end. Like he's legit good at tight end at receiving. But I wish they would have done more for Darnold the past couple of years.
I agree.
All right. Well, first off, you're listening to Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network and Sports War Radio. CJ the Painkiller D. Simone here. Kevin Jackson on the other side of the glass right there. Our special guest, Mr. John Gifford from the Gift Up Football Podcast on YouTube.com. Before I give my thoughts on here, I have quite a few comments that I want to read here on the air, and I want to thank everyone who's taken the opportunity to comment. Keep those comments coming because we love reading these things on the air. A couple actually aimed directly at our special guest here. Errol Marks will lead it off. It was always about the money in regards to the Jamal Adams situation. I kind of half-heartedly agree.
And I just think that did CJ get locked up a little bit?
That he's listening right now for us. A good buddy of ours, his name is Staff Sergeant Munoz from the 45th Medical Group. He is actually going to be leaving the pharmacy that I work at over at Patrick Air Force Base, and he's moving on to bigger and better things. So I want to wish him well. He's actually joining us today on the live feed. So Munoz, thank you so much for tuning in. You're the man. I love you to death. I'm going to miss the hell out of you. You have no idea. Please keep in touch with us, and I hope you continue to watch the show in the future. So good old Eddie Delgado. All right. El Chapo chiming in because, we got to have Chapo chiming in over here. So he starts off by saying, I couldn't agree with your guest anymore in regards. I couldn't disagree with your guest anymore. I'm sorry. I read that there.
That's usually the case.
Also mentioned the Becton is one of 5 players on the O-line. Mac is no longer the GM. This is Joe Douglas's team now. Kevin, he sent you a message, sweep the leg. All right. Shout out to Simon Baccarella. Jamal is the biggest tool. I hope he fails over in Seattle. Shout out to Lowell Litchmore, one of our listeners here. He actually says that your voice, he said you should be doing play-by-play someplace there, John. You should be doing for
I appreciate it. I stay humble, though. I stay humble.
That's what's good.
Thanks
for being on, guys. We appreciate y'all being here.
Thank you, guys.
Simon again came in. Bell came here. Mosley came here. Free agents will continue to come here as long as we build, and there are so many others.
That's a money issue. That's a money thing, though. You know what I'm saying? Really,
right? Well,
it's all about the money.
Because if they come here, it's because they're the highest paid player at their position in the league. That's kind of how the aura of this team actually positions us. And we have to do that. Who wants to come knowing they're not going to win? Until we win, that
right.
Can I bring up a good example? Everson Griffin going to the Cowboys recently to pair with DeMarcus Lawrence on a pretty complete roster. See, now that's where you get that veteran talent. You get free agents to come to your team. The Jets don't have that. They don't have that enticement to get players like Everson Griffin, Clowney to come there.
Yeah,
it's just something to think about.
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. A lot.
Right. We do have a lot of work to do, but you know what? Here's the thing. We can't sit here and singularly look at Jamal Adams being traded and acting like the complete douche that he's acted all offseason. We can't pretend that didn't happen. Okay. Now, one of the things too that we have to look at as far as free agents coming to the New York Jets. Free agents come to the New York Jets as long as they're willing to sign the check. Okay. Because the New York Jets for years has been the old age retirement home for the NFL. Okay. We have always signed players on the downslopes of their careers. Okay. Who have little to nothing left in the tank. But because they know that the New York Jets are so desperate that they will write whatever number they ask. Okay. And that to me is a crock of bullshit. So this is where Joe Douglas has come in and put his foot down and is now saying the time for screwing around is over, regardless whether you like Adam Gase, regardless whether you like Gregg Williams. Because the only way that Adam Gase and Gregg Williams are going to be successful is Joe Douglas bringing in quality players that are actually going to come in here and are going to play. All right. The offensive line last year was a disaster. We would have did better with a couple of rain barrels and a couple of traffic cones. We were the worst in football. Okay. Jamal went on the complete tweet fest, roasting everybody in the facility. The New York Jets did not say not one single bad word about him. Nothing. They had every opportunity to. They had every opportunity to tell him to shut his mouth. And you know what? They didn't. They didn't publicly embarrass themselves. They didn't publicly embarrass the player. The player embarrassed himself.
They could have told him to shut his mouth, or they could have told him, listen, we're not going to be able to handle this contract situation until maybe next season.
Right.
Listen, that's something that we can. I don't want to argue about that. I'm sorry. Please.
Right. So another thing, as far as the front office, and John, I completely agree with you. This franchise's front office has been a complete and utter mess. A complete and utter mess. okay,
Yeah.
since Bill Parcells. After Parcells left and his staff left, a little bit with Herm Edwards, we had a little bit of stability. We had a little bit of stability when Rex Ryan first got here. And after that, we had nothing. We had absolute trash here. Okay? Now, you could blame Woody Johnson all you want. You could blame Chris Johnson all you want. Okay? I will go back and blame friggin' Leon Hess, who's rotting in a friggin' grave right now.
You sold the team.
Okay? My hatred goes back a long way for this team. Okay? With the moves and the garbage that they pulled. Okay? But here's what Joe Douglas brings to the table. 3 Super Bowl rings. That's 3 more than anybody else that we've brought into this facility in the last 10 years. This man is determined to build a championship pedigree football team here in New York. And the same way that we were patient with McCagnon, we were patient with Idzik, we were patient with Bradway, and the other jokes that came after them, we need to be patient with Douglas. Like it or not. Okay?
I got to defend McCagnon, CJ.
What? Drafted
nah,
Jamal Adams and Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
A freaking Beagle could have did that, Johnny. Come on. You gotta
No. Because here's the thing, and this is where I'm going to make my argument. McCagnon should have stayed. Gregg Williams deserves a lot more credit that he's given. And here's the thing. Here's the kicker. You got the Jets already have the hardest part figured out, CJ. You guys got your franchise quarterback. I mean, can we look at that at first?
Right, but McCagnon
isn't that the hardest? Let me just finish.
Was also responsible for criminally neglecting the offensive line.
Let me just finish.
He did not invest a single dollar in that offensive line until DeBrickashaw Ferguson said, "Screw this, I'm out," and he retired. And Nick Mangold was playing on one leg.
That's one thing, but I'm going to let you guys have your say. I'm going to let you guys have your say after this. What I'm trying to say is Sam Darnold is a legit franchise quarterback.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to get an argument out of us for that. We love Sam Darnold here.
You don't even need a great offensive line for him to be successful, but the best they can do is Denzel Mims, and I'm supposed to get excited about that? Like Le'Veon Bell being trashed by Adam Gase and then no receivers put around Sam Darnold, who's already shown he can take shots, throw from the pocket. Yeah, he got sick last year. It was bad luck. But other than that, he's one of the toughest quarterbacks in football. The hardest part is already done for the Jets. That's why players don't want to come here. Because why aren't they going to build up this offense? That's the point that I'm trying to make, because
you have a point.
The hardest part about building a team in general is finding a franchise quarterback. There's no doubt about that. And
the second hardest part, Johnny, you're missing the battle in the trenches. You cannot win games unless you win the battle in the trenches. And the Jets have lost the battle in the trenches for the past 10 plus years because we've had the worst offensive lines in history.
One of the worst D lines in history, too. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying they could go a lot farther. It could go a lot farther for the offense if they had receivers to pair with Darnold. You can get by with an average offensive line if you got receivers around your star quarterback.
You know, again, this is why I say that you have a point, John, because talent is you know, in certain situations you're capable to overcome coaching in certain situations. But I think the fact of the matter is that, again, most of us who have some of these thoughts is missing is that this is the New York Jets. Come on, man. I love this team. I believe this team. If you cut me right now, gush green all over the screen. I'm serious. I love this team. We've been bad, horrible. We've been really bad. We've been bad in our front office. We've been bad in ownership. We've been bad in coaching. We've been bad in player personnel. We've been bad, especially last season. We've been bad all the way down to the training staff. We've been a bad organization. I love this. Everybody that ever listens to us or interacts with us in any place, they know we love the Jets. The Jets we've been a bad team. This is the issue that we have right now. You talk about building. It's great to have a franchise quarterback, but If that offensive line isn't right, then your franchise quarterback is seeing ghosts. Let's just
Right.
keep it real. We believe he's a franchise quarterback. They had no help. We have legitimately what is one of the best running backs in the league. And to be perfectly honest with you, had he not come here and had he stayed on the trajectory that he was in Pittsburgh, we're talking about a guy who's Hall of Fame caliber, almost first ballot Hall of Fame caliber running back. And that's who we have here now. We also have now in the backfield, and this is just adding something, but Frank Gore, all of these pieces that we've added, they're small things. But the fact of the matter is that we have been so bad. We've no depth. Our defensive backfield, no depth. Our wide receivers, no depth. Our offensive line, not about depth. We had nothing, almost covered bare on our offensive line. Everything was in shambles. Not to mention the fact that we have a coaching staff, at least partially, that seems to not be able to get out of its own way when you're talking about offensively. Gregg Williams did a great job last season with again, duct tape and thumbtacks, and still finished with a top 2 run defense in the league. Still finished, what was it? It's still top 12, top 13 overall. Was it top 20 pass defense? Even with the scrub kind of DBs that we had last season, Jermaine Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about that.
Whoa.
This is where it is that we are right now.
Yeah.
We hopefully have a franchise quarterback. Until we get a franchise, we're going to struggle. Building a team isn't one quarterback alone. Building team and a Super Bowl caliber team actually requires that everything works. The GM works, the coach works, the assistant coaches work, the training staff works, special teams, all of those things. Everything has to work for us to be a Super Bowl caliber team. Right now, we haven't even had something that we could actually qualify as being NFL caliber consistently.
I do agree. And I think that's
We
a
have a
great
lot.
point to get into the defense next, because we talked about the offense for a long time now.
Yeah, and defense going to struggle.
But the defense, let's be honest, man. I mean, that's why I'm saying, CJ Mosley opting out, Avery Johnson on the PUP, and even that's questionable, even if he can step foot on the field. Let's be honest. I mean, that's still a question mark. This is one of the worst linebacking cores in football. There's no 10-sack pass rusher on this team.
No.
This front seven is one of the worst in football. See, that's why people don't want to.
God.
I mean, we got to be honest. We got to be honest.
I mean, I do want to be honest. We're not that bad.
This is the worst front seven. This is one of the worst front sevens in football. Come on. I got nothing against the New York Jets.
You can't be number 2 against the run in the league and be a bottom of the league team. You can't
against the runner.
You can't finish overall. I mean, look. Oh, we weren't 32nd against the pass. We weren't. They don't even have a 10-sack pass rusher. Come on. 20s overall defense. We weren't even in the 20s overall defense. All right, and to that point, let me just wrap this, because to that point, yes, we lost Jamal Adams. Yes, that is huge.
He was the best pass rusher you had.
But
he's not even at the end.
He didn't lead the team in sacks. Jordan Jenkins did. Jordan Jenkins has been our top pass rusher since he's been here. So let's not get it twisted. Jamal Adams runs stunts. He's a safety. The sacks that he got, that was gravy. We wanted more interceptions. We needed both. He actually gave almost as much of everything as we could ask from him. Jamal Adams is a Pro Bowl talent. Anybody that says Jamal Adams sucked is a moron. The kid is one of the best players in the league. You might not like him. I don't care if you don't like him. On the field, my question, the issue that I have mostly with all the entire fan base is that most of the time we're not talking about stuff that happens on the field. We're talking about locker room stuff. We're talking about off the field stuff. You don't gotta like what he says on social media. The kid is the best safety in the league. Hands down, period.
No, he's not. Derwin James. Derwin James is the best safety.
We can discuss not liking him. We can discuss not liking him. You cannot say that your first team All-Pro safety, understand what that means, is not a good player. It doesn't work that way.
You mentioned Jamal Adams, so I'm just asking the question: why did the Jets keep getting rid of their star players?
Because it's the Jets. How many times have I said that? I've said that how many times this episode? I say it every show.
Yeah.
Until we do something different, this is where we are. The best part about these shows, and the best part of and this is why I love CJ. I'm gonna give you more props right now, CJ. I gotta tell you right now because you bring me close to so much of this stuff. But this is it. We've been a bad organization, but there are always glimmers of hope. We've never been the worst team in the league. You can call it numerical, you can say it, whatever it is. Well, we've never been the worst team in the league. We've always had at least something that we can say, well, at least we've got this, or at least we've got that. We always have that.
Can you say that now?
What Joe Douglas is
Can you say that now?
It's Joe Douglas's responsibility to accumulate more of those guys.
Well, actually, you know what? Can I ask a question right here?
Yes.
What is the strong point to the Jets right now? Since you just said well, at least we could say that, at least we could say this.
Tight ends.
What's the strong? How are the Jets going to attack me on Sunday when week 1 when they play the Buffalo Bills? Okay. What's their strongest point that they're going to go get them on week 1?
Tight ends are going to eat. The running backs are going to eat. I'm telling you, and at this point in time, I have to say this: with Le'Veon Bell and Frank going to backfield, Adam Gase is going to want to run. He's going to want to run the ball. We don't have people that scare you at wide receiver, but I'm gonna keep it real. In order really to win, you don't need somebody to scare you. You just need somebody to get open.
That was the excuse last year, though. Le'Veon Bell being the guy, and Adam Gase shafted him like Le'Veon Bell did something personal to him.
No offensive line.
Right.
So then let's say this. We continue to give Le'Veon Bell the ball behind an extremely porous offensive line. He rushes for 2.47 yards to carry, and then you wonder why Adam Gase keeps giving him the ball. Why do you keep giving him the ball?
Forget handing it off. Use him as a receiver. He can get 1,000 yards catching the football. Why didn't Adam Gase draw up plays for him?
Because the offensive line couldn't block for their franchise quarterback.
We've had the privilege.
But you can say that about any team with the offensive line.
We've had the privilege of having some of the most intelligent film guys that we know that surround this team to come on this show. And we interact with them, and I mean film guys that will tell you what it is that we have going on.
Well, let me tell you
every single one
the Rams got to the
all of them say that the problem is and begins with boom. I'm gonna say it again.
The Rams got to the Super Bowl because of the offensive line being extremely dominant with Whitworth and Saffold on that left side. As an example, they brought them to the Super Bowl because it was dominant. It wasn't Gurley. It wasn't McVay and his pixie dust. It was because the offensive line winning in the trenches. You're right. But at the same time, how many offenses and how many teams are afforded that luxury? You can't have that with every team. You can't have a top 3 offensive line every year. The quarterback, the other players got to step up. You're not going to get a perfect offensive line.
Nobody's asking for it to be a perfect
offensive line. Well, you guys just did.
You need a serviceable one. The New York Jets had the 32nd worst offensive line in the league last year. Nobody could have ran behind this. He could have got the Pee-wee quarterback killed.
Because Darnold was hurt. Well, he was sick for what? How many games? Because of mono? So it made the stats look worse.
Trevor Siemian got snapped in half on Monday Night Football.
This is an average offensive line.
I laugh every time you say that, CJ. I'm sorry. That's funny.
It's an average offensive line. I mean,
that in itself is
the perfect one.
That in itself is the problem. We don't need.
You can't have a perfect one. Darnold's not going to step back there going untouched with nobody touching him all game like Brady, getting calls and everything. You're not going to get that. Sorry. Put weapons around him. Weapons around him. Call plays for Le'Veon Bell.
If he has more time, he can be better than Brady.
Anybody could be good with time. Even Nick Foles won a Super Bowl because nobody touched him, but he can't get it done a full 16 in the regular season.
Okay, so then let's just put it in perspective because we're talking about the Jets.
Yeah, they should build around.
No, again, because we're talking about the Jets. We haven't had time. There's been no conversation about time.
Darnold's been here for
how many times have you said, "Oh my God, Sam's had a wide? I mean, he's had a pocket. He had all day to stand back there." You hardly
3 years. Darnold's been here, man.
And every year he has a
Years,
bad
and
offensive
haven't
line.
been able to put
Every
weapons
year he has
around
a
him.
He has a bad system.
With how
around him.
high of the draft picks that they've had, and they can't
He has
get
bad
top flight receivers or tight end talent around him.
That
We haven't
falls on
done
the front
enough.
office.
We haven't done enough to do anything for Sam Darnold. And again, and I'll say this again, and people get upset with me. I'll just put it that way, because I say this every time. We as an organization have let these players down. Some of these guys probably would have had better careers had they not been drafted here, because we have been a bad organization, horribly run. People continue, and I'm not going to go too deep into this because I think everybody understands what we're talking about right now. If you think about it in context, take your emotion out of it, we've been a bad team. Some of the players that we've drafted had talent. We've had talented guys here, but just like you said, they never get to the second contract, or if they do, they do what Mo Wilkerson did. You know what I'm saying? They do what Mo. Come on now, no.
Yeah.
Look, if we had going all the way back to Geno Smith, this organization has made horrible decisions on the field. That's bad coaching, but that comes from horrible ownership. That comes from a bad.
Geno Smith was afraid to take a hit, man. Let's be realistic about that. Geno Smith sucks, man.
All right.
Let's just be realistic about that.
Okay.
Those were some pretty bad days for the Jets. Let's not sugarcoat that.
I'm not here to argue if Geno Smith is Hall of Fame caliber.
He was bad.
What I'm trying to tell you is that if you were here, you saw Geno Smith go 8-8 with a horrible team here. Did you not?
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
But then you also saw a dismantling of the team around him. Not only a dismantling of the players around him, but also a disintegration of the coaching staff around him. Mm-hmm. So just imagine this. Sam Darnold didn't go 8-8. Sam Darnold's a better quarterback. I can qualify that. Geno Smith did more with less than what it is that Sam Darnold is doing. So we can discuss if Geno is bad or whatever, but we can also discuss how bad this organization is, because we have guys that have talent and they're not being put in situations to win here.
Well, can I ask who?
Ownership coaching.
Can I ask who? Because who? Look, looking through the defense, I'll be honest. I'm excited about Pierre Desser at cornerback. I'm excited about Brian Poole. Hopefully Avery Williamson can step up. I hope. Offensively, Le'Veon Bell is going to have to be utilized more. Denzel Mims, if he is healthy, but Herndon, I like a tight end. But wait, but that's like 6 guys. But you're acting like there's a bunch of playmakers here.
Okay.
What are you talking about? You just said that there's like a bunch of guys that are going to step up.
Marcus May, who's gone almost 1,100 plays without a penalty and is actually looking as of right now to come in and be a Pro Bowl caliber player at his position. It's still pretty good. Like you say, if you want to discount Avery Williamson, we still have Quentin Williams, who we're expecting to have a big year from. You can't discount Herndon, because Herndon again is that guy. We've seen him as a rookie. Just imagine what it is that he had. Imagine what possibilities we have with him, with Sam Darnold behind this offensive line. Well, just
I
imagine,
think you're overestimating.
Imagine what P. Ryan is going to look like. Just imagine what Ethan Crowder is going to look like. Those are all weapons. Every time I talk about these players in particular, I see Sam Darnold has another weapon. I see Sam Darnold as somebody that can be the type of person that can kill you in multiple ways if he has weapons. You're right. We need weapons.
That I agree with.
We have guys that can do it. We just haven't had an offensive line that allowed him the time to process. So again,
I agree with you about Sam Darnold being a franchise quarterback. I disagree with you about him having a weapon. This is a sad excuse. This is a sad excuse for weapons for a franchise quarterback that I know Sam Darnold is. So I do disagree with you on that. But as far as Darnold being a franchise quarterback, I agree with you.
I didn't say we were great. I said we have guys that can make plays.
No, you don't. Other than Herndon and Le'Veon Bell, who Adam Gase is going to cuckold or do whatever he's going to do with him. I mean, why would Adam Gase not use Le'Veon Bell to his full advantage? Why would he not give him plays to take full advantage? I don't understand that.
He should. If he has an offensive line, I think he does it. We just signed Chris Hogan today. All that dude does is get open. Demaryius Thomas, who I think was, come on now, Demaryius Thomas is 4,000 years old. But
What does Demarius Thomas have to do with 20?
but I'm just talking about
Give me
Demarius.
some of what you
Demarius
got,
Thomas-
man. Send it
Demarius
my
Thomas
way
was
because
part
I
of
need
the
it.
last season. Let's say he wasn't. Demarius Thomas was he played well for us last season. We're the Jets.
He did
What do
not.
you expect? I'm not talking about 1,000-yard receivers. We're the Jets. We don't have them. We don't have that. Come on now.
I agree you're being humble, but I think we got to argue the point to get more weapons around Darnold than just.
I don't know. I've been arguing that. I've been arguing that. But I'm just saying, as of right now, where it is that we are, we're not.
I knew we were going to have fun with this. I knew we were. So
Again, this is that if. You know, I think I'm going to get a hat that says if on it because it's right here on my forehead because all of this stuff is if. If everybody's healthy, if everything works, if, then we can be good. But we never see them if. We're the damn Jets. We never see the ifs. So, but this is the thing. I think, and I'm going to say this: the one change that really does give me more, I guess, heart about anything, is Joe Douglas. I don't know. I didn't want to say this about John Itzik. I said John. I didn't want to say this about Itzik or McCagnon because I thought that they had plans. And I thought that they would execute those plans. And those plans kind of fell apart. Those plans weren't necessarily football stuff. It looked more, like they were spitballing a little bit. I think Joe Douglas actually picked guys that can play football. That's what we haven't had. We haven't had guys that can play football. Our second and third teams, they suck because they can't play football.
I disagree with you completely about Joe Douglas.
I've seen guys on high school teams around me locally here in Georgia and South Carolina that look better than some of these guys that I see on the team. And I'm telling you right now.
Well, it's not like it's Hunter Renfrow looking like he's like 18 years old with the Raiders, but
they're going to
look. I disagree with you about Joe Douglas, man, and Christopher Johnson as the owner. I don't see how any of that is separate from another. These guys brought Adam Gase in here. They drive out star talent, and I'm standing by that statement, man. You're not. I can't get win over on that. This is not going in the upward trajectory. This is going down.
I know CJ has something else that he wants to discuss. I know.
Well, yeah, I know. We've been hogging up the whole podcast. I mean, CJ's been really. I mean, CJ, I appreciate it, man. I've been having fun.
I missed the first 20 minutes. I need to get in.
I don't even know how long we've been on here for.
Let me just say this though. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Look, this is the Jets, man. All of this stuff is relative. I love having these conversations because the fact of the matter is that neither one of us, none of us, we don't know who's right. And
no, I'm right. Until I'm going to come on here and say that I'm right. I am mother effing right. The Jets are wrong in what they're doing going forward. Nobody wants to come to the Jets. That's fact.
Look,
dude, there's some bad stuff going around with the Jets right now, and I have no ill will towards them.
Yeah.
But they cannot bring in star talent. They're declining. They're not getting better. They get rid of star talent. They don't gain star talent. They have a defensive coordinator that should be the head coach. They're in disarray, man.
Even that's questionable.
Yeah, that's not questionable. Gregg Williams is a better head coach than Adam Gase. Adam Gase.
Look, I'm not saying that.
Adam Gase.
I'm not saying that.
Adam Gase might as well have bra and a lingerie underneath the shorts that he wears at practice.
I'm not saying
he says, Gregg Williams, come in here and be my deal with this guy for me. Deal with Jamal Adams for me. Deal with Le'Veon Bell so I don't have to.
I'm not saying
that, man. I'm not saying Jamal Adams lied about that, and I'm
not sure if he's the best option for us right now.
Before no. Did Jamal Adams lie? Did Jamal Adams lie about Adam Gase pawning players off on other coaches? Answer me, goddammit.
I'm waffling on this because no, I don't think that's a lie. I don't think that's a lie. I don't think that's a lie. I think there's a lot of truth in that. I do believe there's a lot of truth in that. But that's the reason why I question Adam Gase the way I do. None of what we talk about really is Adam Gase. Yeah,
even if he did, okay, this is something that happens around the league all the time. It doesn't matter whether it happens on a shitty team or happens on a good team. Okay, it happens all the time. So it's like if you have a defensive back who goes to the head coach is going to tell him, go talk to your defensive coach, go talk to your defensive backs coach, or go talk to the defensive coordinator. So it happens all the time. The only thing is that the reason why such light and such attention is being paid on it right now is because Jamal Adams pissed and bitched and act like a little baby to get his way out of New York. Okay.
I agree. I disagree with you, CJ.
Well, look, Johnny, you and I are going to agree to disagree on this point because as far as Jamal Adams is concerned, we will never know the conversations that happened behind closed doors. The only thing that we know is what Jamal Adams put on social media, what the Jets said in their press releases, what Manish Mehta supposedly recorded, okay? And any other person who had anything else to do with this situation. We are never going to get the full story. But I'm going to go back to what I said at the beginning of the show before Jax got here. If Jamal Adams was that adamant about getting out of New York, then he wouldn't have thrown a bitch fit about Joe Douglas taking phone calls last year at the trading deadline about the Jets' interest in moving him.
I don't think so, because he was trying to move a safety because safety, yes, isn't all the time that much of a value position. So he was thinking, let's try to move him for high value because he's a safety. We can get more for him than he's worth. That's what happened. So what? But the whole fact is that Jamal Adams is a different breed of safety. He made an impact in the front seven. He dynamically changed games for the Jets.
And what he did for the New York Jets.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you give away 2 first-round picks. It doesn't help anything when you lose star talent like that.
That we're debating the character that was shown here.
Because he was speaking the truth.
The Jets had all intention of keeping Jamal Adams.
He was speaking the truth.
At the scouting combine and said that he wanted to make Jamal Adams a Jet for life. So what happened between then and now where we are now?
Because they're dysfunctional. That's why.
You could say that about a lot of teams, Johnny, not just the New York Jets.
Well, I can say it about the Jets because that's exactly what they've been doing. And, yeah, you can say it about a lot of teams, but teams get better, teams get worse. Look at the Buffalo. I mean, I'm just taking an example. Look at the Buffalo Bills. 17 years, no playoffs. Look at how they turned things around. They actually got Stephon Diggs, a legit wide receiver, star talent, wanted to come to Buffalo. Now, look, no bias here. I'm just using that as an example. What star talent has wanted to come to the New York Jets?
None.
Thank you.
That's a fact. I guess I'll just attribute that to the fact that this is the Jets. All right.
Right. Exactly. This is the Jets.
We had a maybe just a well, I mean, because that really is kind of the answer. So we figured out how we consider what idea we have about this team. We can't be stacked and talented in every position because we've been bad for 10 years. We can't have depth and superstar talented players because not only do we pay them and they get hurt, but the ones that we draft and get good, they want to leave because we're losing every year. Think about it. Jamal Adams is as bad as his mouth was. And again, I gotta say this. Jamal Adams, all of that chatter, I didn't like that. Pissed me off too. But I didn't like it. But Jamal Adams he's an all-pro caliber player. And that's what we don't have. That's what we need. That's what we want to draft. If this were a winning organization, do you think Jamal Adams is so thirsty to leave? If this was the Patriots, do you think Jamal Adams says anything about, I want a contract this season? Or do you think Jamal Adams just says, you know what? I have an opportunity to win a ring. If I can do that at $3 million a year, I'll take it. Let me shut up and sit down and do what I need to do to win. Period. Yes. This is not the team. This is the Jets. I want to say, unfortunately.
I want to say, I appreciate you guys
right now. what I think that we're seeing right now, I think we're seeing Joe Douglas turn that rudder. That's what I think. In the next couple of years.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a lag there.
Yeah, I know. Kevin is having some audio issues on his end, and
No problem.
I have a really cool picture of him frozen right over there with just like the thinking man's pose. So
and it's no problem. And I wanted to say, like, I really appreciate everything we've done tonight. And I want to get to a question with the defense here next about the pass rush. And I don't know how much
I got
to talk about.
I got almost one Wi-Fi in here.
I just want to talk about the defensive end position and just, we can go from there. Why haven't they addressed that in recent years?
As far as the defensive end, as far as the pass rusher, is that
why? Yeah, why the hell haven't they addressed it in the passing league?
They just haven't.
Can I on top of everything else we talked about tonight, the most important thing that a defense needs to do nowadays in a passing league with players like Tom Brady, that's got Mike Evans and Godwin and Gronk, and like no pass rusher at all for the Jets? Come on.
Well, the Jets have been trying to address pass rusher through different players, and we've had players that have come in that just unfortunately did not work out here. Okay, we talked about Ja'Kai Polite last year being drafted by the Jets. He was drafted to be their pass rusher. And you know what? He turned out to be a head case. Okay. Joe Douglas this year drafted Jabari Zuniga, okay, who quite frankly fits in Gregg Williams' defense the same way that he fit very well in Dan Mullen's offense, in Dan Mullen's defense in Florida. So, there are a lot of different things that the Jets are trying now, because you have a coaching staff that is trying to generate a pass rush due to guys to not have a bona fide pass rusher.
And I just want to, I guess, like a really good way for me to wrap up that talk is, so, all right, they got an issue with Adam Gase as head coach. They got an issue at front office with the GM because obviously that hasn't worked out. The ownership allowed Adam Gase to come in to begin with. So then I look at that and I think maybe it's time to clear house, because the thing that's worth salvaging here, in my opinion, is Sam Darnold and Le'Veon Bell, because this defense is not where it needs to be. I mean, there's no cornerstones there. There's no legit options. You can't build on that. Offensively, there's no legit left or right tackle. Hopefully, Mekhi Becton is that piece, but let's be realistic. That's maybe not. At receiver, no legit number one, maybe a number two in Mims if he steps up. Crowder's an average slot receiver. I mean, what's
your issue with Denzel Mims? I don't understand.
Because he's already hurt. And they overcompensated at receiver when there was far better talent in the fifth round, like Tyler Johnson, excuse me. Like Tampa Bay drafted Tyler Johnson in the fifth round, better option. Lynn Bowden even was a better option for the Raiders, and they got him later in the draft. They overcompensated for Denzel Mims in the second round.
Wow.
That's my problem with him. Why would you waste a second round pick on somebody?
Denzel Mims is a first round talent. Denzel Mims is a first round talent, and we got him in the second. We got him in the second round.
Jalen Reagor, way better. I mean, I'm just saying that there was so many other receivers that were way better than him.
We don't know if those guys are better yet. There are rookies that haven't played it down in the league.
Yeah, that's why you got to watch the college film, and
do watch
Denzel Mims didn't do nothing. So you can say what you want.
I think for what it is,
wow.
What it is that we
okay.
did.
All right.
So we got to end on that with that one.
I'll put it this way. If Perriman is serviceable, Mims eats this season. Period. At the end of the season, we'll be talking about who's better than who. When it comes to that, because Reagor's not going to be a number one guy. He'll probably end up being a number two coming in.
Brandon Ayuk.
Mims is going to have an opportunity.
Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb. I would have much rather them traded up. They could have made better moves. I'm just saying, you think Denzel Mims is going to work out and he's already hurt. Okay.
Hello, Mekhi Becton. That's what we did that draft pick. What are you talking about? this is where we're at. We gave up. We gave a second. We hold up. We actually traded back and got more capital, and then gave a second round pick for a top 5 wide receiver. Did I miss something?
Top 5 receiver in Denzel Mims. I think that's delusional.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
I don't think
big time.
You might think that. I'm not.
CeeDee
I'm not
Lamb,
sure.
Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Ayuk.
I don't know. I don't.
Tyler
think
Johnson that got drafted in the 5th round by Tampa Bay. 5th round, not 2nd round.
Tyler Johnson is not better than Denzel Mims.
Yes, he is. Yes,
no,
he
he's
is.
not.
Yes,
no, he's
he
not.
is. I'm glad I can go on record with saying
Tyler
that.
Johnson had difficulty fighting for 50-50 balls, and every time at the point of contact, he would drop like a sack of potatoes. Come on now. Stop it with the Tyler Johnson bullshit. Stop it. Okay? Denzel Mims
Tyler Johnson's got to get a little bit more. Tyler Johnson got raw talent.
Hands. All right.
Tyler Johnson's
Johnny,
got raw talent. Denzel Mims doesn't have that.
Let's move on here. So, all right. So, Jets training camp obviously opened up. Okay. So there's obviously a little bit of news coming out. We actually talked about it a little bit during this segment here. With obviously, the rash of injuries. We've got Mims with a hamstring. Gore had a quad, I believe, had a hamstring injury. Jabari Zuniga had a quad injury, and so on and so forth. Now, I wanted to get your gentleman's opinion with all of the injuries that are going on right now. Okay. Is this because we're kind of in this COVID-19 / try from guys going from 0 to 100 up to this point where maybe guys are not really conditioned the right way? Or is strength and conditioning really an issue on this team? Johnny, we're going to start with you, and then we'll circle back around to Jax.
Thank you for starting with me first, so I know. With that being said, I think it does have an impact because I think players are doing what they have to do at their homes. And I think it includes what they do with their workout machines in their basement, their backyards, getting players over to whether it's running routes, whatever, lining up on it like a defensive line standpoint and going at each other. I think players are doing as best as they can in a bubble type atmosphere, so to speak. So to answer your question, I think that absolutely that players are making the best effort that they can to get better at what they do at home, but it does have an impact on the field. It does, because they're not with every player like they normally would. And it's hard to describe, CJ. It is, because it's every player's situation is different depending on what state you live in. I mean, I'm here in New York, and high schools and colleges have to learn remotely right now. So, and then you look at Tom Brady, who with the Bucks, he started off-season workouts way back. We're talking about like March type stuff, where he's getting ahead of the curve, practicing with his receivers. He knew what was going to happen with these bubbles. So, yes, I do think there's a problem with teams getting chemistry together.
All right, Jax, your thoughts.
Yeah. I can't argue. I'm kind of losing focus right now. I'm just going to keep it real because training camp opens up. I mean, there's really not a lot that we are really in position to say because there really isn't any news. I mean, we got guys that are really just coming in. They're going to look rusty. They're going to be tight. They're going to be all of those things. And we really won't know what the team is going to shape up like, at least for another few weeks. The fact that, we have guys that come in and it's being reported that the energy is good, that everybody's really excited and everybody's looking forward to what it is that we got going on. And I'm going to be honest with you, as much as I didn't like the fact that Jamal was sent away, I think that the locker room is probably really going to like the fact that Jamal is gone right now. I think that's going to galvanize them. I think some of them guys are now going to be in position to make more plays. And while the defense is not going to be what it was, they are going to probably struggle a little bit. I still think they'll be actually good enough for us to really play well on that side of the ball, the offensive line. We need them to step up. Look, I this is the Jets, guys. We do have what we think is a franchise quarterback. We have an offensive head coach that I think most of us think can't do what it is that we need him to do. We have a defensive coach that actually is working magic again with very limited, player or personnel. We have a special teams coach who, I'm just going to keep it real, as somebody that likes the nuances of special teams. I think more than likely somebody might ask him within the next few years if he wants to interview for a head coaching opportunity. Now, I'm just going to say that because I think our special teams are good enough, especially considering the fact that we have been limited talent. Now we've got Brady Man jersey coming. I'm telling y'all right now, I'm buying a jersey.
Nice.
We'll see how that works out. But overall, as a Jets fan, I'm optimistic. I'm also scared I'm scared as hell right now. Because if one thing happens and we fall off the rails, then we're falling off the track. You feel me?
Can I ask a question?
We're not even there yet. This is.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because you just said you're afraid that they're going to fall off the tracks, and the first thing that came to my mind was about Sam Darnold and about him carrying this team, dropping back in the pocket, doing what he's got to do on Sunday, and you're talking about going to war, putting the team on the shoulders. And look, out of all the Jets players, Sam Darnold has got the biggest chip on his shoulder out of everybody. I want to make that clear. Going into this season, no matter what happens, Darnold has a chip on his shoulder the size of a 1,000-pound cinder block.
Because there's a lot of people questioning if he's actually even good enough to be the quarterback next season.
He is. But he's got to carry this team. That's the whole point of this.
I get that.
That's it, man. I mean, that's it. Denzel Mims isn't going to pick up this team. Adam Gase, his play calling isn't going to pick up this team. Sam Darnold's going to have to stand back there, take the hits, and take the blood that has to be spilled for the Jets' satisfaction to get this done. And that's the way it is. There's not going to be any other two ways about it. So I just want to say, you act like you're worried about Sunday. That's because you're worried about your quarterback dropping back to pass. Sam Darnold can get it done. And the O-line, yes, we've mentioned that. We've mentioned the O-line. I get that. And you don't have to tell me that again. But there's nobody for him to fucking throw to.
Well,
I don't agree with that. But I'm just going to say this again. This is functional football. This is functional football.
This is football.
Put it this way.
No one throw to.
The guys that Tom Brady has been throwing to for all these years, they weren't really.
Tom Brady's the best quarterback that's ever played the game. Don't you dare compare Sam Darnold to Tom Brady. Are you crazy?
1 second here. Because you've been wilding out the whole show, and I just got to tell you this.
Dude,
Sam Darnold,
that's just the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time compared to a third year quarterback.
Third year, bro. He's in his third year, bro, with no offensive line, no coaches.
You're comparing a third year quarterback to the greatest of all time, like Michael Jordan type stuff. Like, come on.
No. Listen to me. The reason why those guys actually played well is because they were successful in the offense that they ran. If our offense is successful, those guys become those players. You've been talking about functional football all night.
Are you seriously saying that Belichick? Are you seriously saying that Belichick was the reason why the Patriots were successful? Are you crazy?
Had I mentioned Belichick's name?
Brady is the best of all time. How could you say that?
I don't think I said Belichick's name at all. But what it is that I did say was that no, I didn't. I didn't say Belichick at all. But what I did say was that their offense was successful. And if we have an opportunity with our offense being successful, those names, those people that you say don't scare anybody, they begin to scare people. It's just functional football. I'm talking about how it works, the dynamics what winning teams do. Winning teams don't necessarily have to kill you in one different way, kill you in 1,000 different ways. We have all of these maybe middle tier guys here that can get open. Chris Hogan can get open. We've seen what he can
Dude,
do
you're all right, CJ. Like, come on, come in here, man. Because, like, oh my god, CJ, are you serious? Hogan, legit?
Wait a second. All
Dude.
right. Both of you guys.
Oh
simmer
my
down for a
god,
second here,
like, oh my
'cause I'm gonna
god.
jump in here now. All right. So enough of this. Now, one of the things here that we talked about, and to Kevin's point when he talked about Tom Brady in regards to Sam Darnold, is basically when you take a look at Tom Brady and the way that he's able to surgically carve up defenses, Sam Darnold can be that good.
With no
But
names.
Tom
Hogan,
Brady.
CJ, no, Shay, let me talk. CJ,
Wait a second.
CJ,
Whoa.
CJ, Chris Hogan, Chris Hogan.
Wait a minute, John.
Chris
John,
Hogan.
one second.
No, but saying Chris Hogan's legit? Come on.
Before we move forward.
No, Chris Hogan legit? No,
Nah.
dude, come on, man.
First off, hold on. Again, you seem to be missing the point. We never said that these guys are superstar guys. We said that these guys were able to get open. They've had production.
Chris Hogan can't get open.
Go back and look at the number.
Chris Hogan can't get open, dude. How could you bring that up in
Move
an
on from
argument
Chris
like
Hogan.
this when we're talking about a franchise getting better? No,
So the Jets,
Chris
Jets
Hogan's
did bring
booty,
in
man.
Chris Hogan to add to the wide receiver core. It's questionable whether what he's going to bring to the table or not. Obviously, moving on. One of the things that I did want to talk about now in regards to Jets training camp, I just want to throw my 2 cents in there, is that Sam Darnold seems to have more command of the offense. Okay, he's out there and he's putting different guys. He's running. He's talking to the offensive linemen. He's also pointing out things to the wide receivers. He's also trying to be an extension of the coaching staff, according to Darryl Loggins in his recent interview with Rich Cimini in ESPN New York. I do invite everyone to go out there and to go take a look. Rich Cimini's actually put out a couple of good posts over these past couple of days of chronicling New York Jets training camp from the limited access that the media does have. Now, another thing too, with the injury bug is concerned, I think it's a combination of both. Okay, I think it's a combination of asking these guys to ramp up from 0 to 100 and get themselves ready. This is, again, why I was telling everybody that, you know what, preseason games, as much as we don't like them, they're necessary because it shakes the rust off. It puts guys and puts people in it puts people in situations. You're putting guys in game situations. You're hitting another team's jersey. You're hitting another color jersey as opposed to your own. Okay, so but the players union opted out. They didn't want the preseason games. We don't have the preseason games. So now we're going to start to see a little bit more of this injury bug start to take hold. That being said, I've always had issues and always had difficulty with New York Jets strength and conditioning. I was hoping that would have gotten changed this offseason. Unfortunately, it did not. Or in my opinion, I don't think that they changed it enough. So as far as Mims being hurt, Gore being hurt, which was more of a precautionary measure, Zuniga being hurt, some other people being hurt, Avery Williamson is still on track to start week 1, which is a good sign. So right now, at this point, everybody's just got to work through it, and it's next man up for everybody to learn the offense. And most of all, for the defense, it's now preparing for life without Jamal Adams. Okay? We've sat here and we've debated all night about this guy, about there's no denying the man's talent. But you know what? He's not here no more. And I'm sick of talking about him. Okay, so the Jets have to find ways, and Gregg Williams has to find ways to use the people that are still here on defense to put them in good positions for them to move forward in order for the Jets to be successful this year. Now, the Jets defense, will it take a little bit of a step back this year? Yes, but I don't think as much as a lot of people are out there sounding the alarms and screaming and yelling about. They're just not. I think that Gregg Williams will, in fact, get this defense to play. This defense will come out on a house of fire. Sam Darnold having that chip on the shoulder and wanting to prove that he is the guy behind a better offensive line the Jets can make some noise this year, provided they stay healthy. And again, going back to the if tattoo that my co-host is going to get implanted on his forehead right there. Okay. So, I want to be there. We're going to video it when it happens.
Hey, I'll come back on. If I'm wrong, I'll come back on.
So, all right. So now another thing that I want to talk about is the Adam Gase and Gregg Williams press conferences that happened obviously after the practices this past weekend. Okay, Adam Gase gave the injury report. It sounds like that right now, guys that are having difficulty with the offense, he's spending more time with them to be able to help them with the install, to help them with the running routes. So I took a lot of positives from the press conference. I don't know if you guys got the opportunity to watch it, but if you did, I invite you guys to go and check it out, because I felt like the press conferences that Adam gave last year and the ones that he's already giving this year, to me, they're a little bit more night and day, where to me, it seems like he's giving a little bit more information, but not really. And also another thing, too, is when he's asked pointed questions, like Rich Cimini went after him a couple of times in regards to the Jamal Adams situation, and also in regards to Gregg Williams and his comments about Jamal Adams going over, which we'll talk about next. These press conferences, believe it or not, tell us a lot of stories, because we don't get to see these practices live. Although NewYorkJets.com does in fact stream them on Facebook, and I do invite everyone to go and check them out. Everyone's out there taking over they're still following their COVID-19 protocols. So in regards to it, you go and you check it out, because right now we don't have any preseason football to absorb. Okay. So we have to take what we get from the media that's reporting and what's being shown out there and leave it up to our own interpretation, plain and simple. So now what I wanted to ask you guys was, in regards to Gregg Williams and his comments about Jamal Adams being bored over in Seattle, and Pete Carroll obviously had some interesting things to say back. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. So this time we'll go in a different order. Jax, we'll start with you, then we'll come back to John, and then I will finish it up.
This is a little bit of gamesmanship. I think Gregg Williams actually did do an extremely good job of using Jamal Adams, and I don't know if Jamal Adams is going to have that same role in Seattle. So realistically, he's right. Jamal might not enjoy the same type of success. He will be on a better organization with a better opportunity to win. And if he has a few less tackles and a few less sacks, but they actually go to the playoffs and really have an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, then if you just go by what he says, then he's in a good spot. Pete Carroll coming back, shooting the shot, I think he was kind of supposed to. Putting up a front, putting up some strength behind his new player, showing that he has his back. And I didn't expect anything else from that, to be honest with you. It was light. It was nothing really. It'll be funny when I would say we'll see week 12 or whatever. I don't care about none of that. If we're playing well, then that's good. All of that coach talk back and forth, even Jamal being childish again and still chiming in on it. Hopefully that'll be gone within a week.
Yeah,
John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really want to disagree with that. As far as Jamal Adams goes, he's a big type impact player. And I don't think we can just deny that. I don't think we can brush that to the side. I don't think we can put that aside like you guys are doing. And that's what I feel like. Like we can get by without him. We can do without him. No, you can't. This is a guy that can blitz from the outside. He can play zone coverage. He's a legit number one safety. And that's a defensive coordinator's dream, to have somebody like that where he can place him at every position of the field, whether it's zone coverage, whether it's up in the box, blocking the run. So I do disagree with that. And what I will say is that the Jets going forward, That's the same thing I've been arguing about in what I was talking about earlier. How are they going to get to the quarterback? How are they going to make an impact in the front seven? Jamal Adams was the only person that did that for them. He was the only one in the front seven. Like that Dallas game, they won the upset, the one big glorious thing of the year, the one lone spot. But I'm just making that as an example. But who's going to make a bigger impact than Jamal Adams this year?
If I could just kind of wrap this up, because I just wanted to say this. Jamal Adams, he might be going to a better situation, what have you. But right about the time when Jamal Adams realizes that Seattle's not going to win the Super Bowl is when we're going to start.
No, that's bullshit, man. That's bullshit.
As an organization here,
every level of the field, Jamal Adams made an impact for the Jets on a team that had no pass rusher, no DN. You guys talked for like 30 minutes and didn't let me say anything. Well, here we go. Jamal Adams was the impact player for the Jets. You get rid of him and you guys act like you can just replace who? With Leonard Williams? What 5 sacks, 4 sacks? Oh, have fun with that.
So you do realize Leonard Williams is not on the team anymore. So are you referring to Quinnen Williams?
Quinnen. Yes, thank you. Leonard Williams, a player that was with the Jets that's no longer with the Jets. Yes.
Right. You also realize that Quinnen Williams also drew the most double teams last year out of any defensive lineman in the NFL, according to PFF, right?
So he can rush the quarterback better than Aaron Donald. Jordan Phillips got 10 sacks last year. He's now with the Cardinals. The Cardinals are on the upswing, but yet the Jets are on the downswing, and they don't sign anybody that can get 10-plus sacks. Yeah, that's a real good argument, man.
Okay. So
okay.
Now what I'm going to do is I want to weigh in on this the Gregg Williams press conference and so on. Now, in regards to Gregg Williams' comments, I do want to agree with my co-host there that it's a little bit of gamesmanship going back and forth between Williams and Pete Carroll, and I think Pete Carroll welcomes it. Believe it or not, and he also did take a subtle shot at Gregg Williams, saying that that they don't make as many mistakes over in Seattle as we do over in New York. So I think that the Jets Seattle matchup this year is definitely going to have a little bit of fire to it. It's going to be a shame that there's going to be no fans there, but I still think that it's going to be an interesting matchup to see how Le'Veon Bell and Jamal Adams are going to hash out their differences, so to speak, as they're actually going to get to see one another and play against one another. So, again, in regards to Jamal Adams, I've said it before, I'll say it again. He's gone from the team now. The team will miss his production. The team will miss the player and the chemistry that he does bring to the football field. But we have to prepare for life without Jamal Adams, and the onus is going to be on Gregg Williams to go and to see what he can squeeze out of this defense in order for it to get better. So we do have some guys on here that maybe can not exactly make up for what Jamal Adams brings, but can in fact still do some of the things that Jamal Adams was asked to do. So we're going to see we're only going to see when the rubber meets the road when we play Buffalo in week 1. And that's
I can't wait for that, CJ. Just so you know, I cannot wait for that day. That is going to be big. And because you've mentioned it so great, and I just want to ask the question. And I want to ask it one more time because I don't want to be an ass, but in a passing league where we know that every rule is put towards the quarterback, we know that, right?
Right.
It's pretty obvious. Why do the Jets not have anybody that can go get the quarterback? You got Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. You got Cam Newton with the Patriots. Sam Darnold. I mean, I'm just, you got a a franchise quarterback in Sam Darnold. You know what it takes to get it done, but you got these other dogs in this division. You know you got to go get the quarterback.
There's
I'm just saying.
there have been some attempts. There have been some attempts, and you kind of got to think also, going back to the difficulties we've had in leadership and them drafting interior linemen like Leonard Williams, like Sheldon Wilson, like Sheldon Richardson, Mo Wilkerson, and a lot of the guys that we brought in, Henry Anderson, McFarland, Nathan Shepard, Foley Fadakasi, those guys are all really kind of interior linemen, or not all of them are known for outside pass rush. Jordan Jenkins has been steady. He's always been. We were expecting to maybe try to make some moves, and we physically made what's the guy's name from Minnesota? We made him sick.
Anthony Barr.
Asking him to come. Yeah. So I mean, it's not like we haven't made attempts to try to make it happen. It just hasn't worked. And again, that goes to us being a bad team. Hopefully, Jabbar Zuniga steps in. And I mean, as of right now, just based on what we see, night and day between what it is that we got from Ja'Kai Polite. And, I know CJ, both of us, we looked at those guys like they had similar talent, similar, ceiling coming in. If Jabbar Zuniga is what it is that we thought we were going to get in Ja'Kai Polite, we ball. We live. Just imagine having that on the other side of Jordan Jenkins. Maybe now Jordan Jenkins goes from 8 to 10 sacks, goes from 8 to 11 sacks. It's not like he hasn't been consistent. He gets 8 every year. That's almost like that. That's what you can expect from that guy. And he's been one of the most solid players that we've had on the team. But again, one of the most solid players on the Jets, which means he hasn't been great. He hasn't been a superstar. He's been good.
Right.
All things, what it's like, if we continue to add players like this, then that's when you have a team. We haven't built a team yet. You talking about Josh Allen, all that pass rushing, they just drafted a kid with Quentin Williams. So, I mean, yeah, they got it. But, I mean, we thought that we were going to get it from Quentin. Quentin didn't have a season. Josh did. I wanted us to draft Josh, to be honest with you. But, we'll see what Quentin does this season.
So, ending here, I guess the best question I can leave with the point before we end everything is, what do you think the best point of attack is for the Jets? Like, if you're telling me, like, all right, we're playing this Sunday, Buffalo Bills week 1, what's the best way you're going to attack them? I want to know right now before I head off to bed here. What is it?
Oh, I'll tell you. The interior pressure. Okay.
From the defense?
Yes.
From who?
From who?
You don't have any defensive pass rushers. From who?
You can get pressure up the middle using McClendon, using Williams, using Phillips, using Foley Fatukasi. There are a myriad of different things. I know you're over there ready to jump out of your skin, but look.
I mean, I'm going to peel off my face like Mason Verger and Hannibal on Netflix. I mean, what's going on here?
I mean, look, you have to take a look at what the Jets have. Okay? I mean,
this isn't even my money, and I'm upset. I mean,
what do you want them to go and get? I mean, we're not trotting,
draft a receiver,
Mark Gastineau,
draft somebody.
We have been trying to draft somebody. We just got finished talking pretty much.
No, they didn't draft anybody. Denzel Mims, and that ended up being an injury thing. So who did they draft?
How many days of practice have we had so far?
Who did they draft? We all know that everything's won in the draft. I mean, who do they draft? I don't know. I mean, it's just a simple question that I'm asking. It's not like I'm asking like I'm trying to be like the government or anything where I'm restricting you guys from doing anything. I mean, like, what's the problem here? I'm asking why they didn't put a legit 2-3 weapons around Sam Darnold in the past couple of years. I think that's a fair question. I don't think I'm like
I can
my Hannibal Lecter. Should I be caged up back here? Should they put like a glass ceiling here with like little holes and I can stand here and say, I have the consistency that of a chicken dinner, like Michael Pitt did with.
I think the reason why we didn't,
by the way, with
add multiple
Hannibal.
wide receivers.
Hugh Dancy's nasty with Hannibal. Yeah, people, people
first round pick of
get some credit. All right.
So, all right, I'm going to do my best here to try to answer this question, and then obviously we're going to get into Kevin's solo segment here because we got a lot. We still have a couple more things we need to cover.
I'll stay on here anytime you want to. With CJ, I love you. Thank you.
Yep. So now one of the things here that I want to talk as far as the New York Jets defense, they are going to push up the middle. That's why you bring back a Steve McClendon, because one of the things that, even though we're in a passing league, okay, and everybody seems to forget this, is that the run still sets up the pass. So the Jets right now are very good at stopping the run, and they're forcing teams to be one-dimensional. Now, our secondary has been something that's been a little bit of a question mark, and also our linebackers in coverage have also been somewhat of a question mark, but I think we've answered that because we have a few guys on this team that can come out and can play and can cover. So now, as far as getting to the quarterback is concerned, this is where Gregg Williams is going to have to utilize the guys that we have on this team, like a Jordan Jenkins, like a Jabari Zuniga, like an Avery Williamson. So, although, John, look, you could disagree with me.
No, CJ, come on, man. This is one of the worst linebacking cores in football. You're not going to sugarcoat this with me on the podcast.
Look,
no.
I don't know.
Avery Williamson isn't even healthy. Avery Williamson isn't even healthy yet. He's not even on the field. And this is one of the weakest linebacking cores in football. Come on, man. Don't play me like that. Come on.
This is also one of the deepest linebacking cores in the NFL, too.
Oh, gee. Well, we got to disagree completely on that.
How?
Jeez. How the hell is this? Avery Williamson is the best linebacker in this.
He's got guys
healthy. He's not even on the field. Are you kidding me?
All right. So anyhow,
you're going to overhype your team just because you're a Jets fan? Come on, man. CJ, I thought you're better than this. Come on.
Listen.
Come on.
Listen. This defense is not as bad as you make it out to be, Johnny. I'm going to be honest with you. And I think all of your takes here tonight, I'm sorry, I'm going to call it. I disagree with almost 100% of the stuff that you're talking about here. Now, look, I mean, it's one thing to be a negative fan, but it's another thing to come on here and to say that you think that this guy's not good enough or that guy's not good enough, or the Jets defense is going to suck because C.J. Mosley opted out and because Jamal Adams got traded. Look,
who else should they have at linebacker? Who else should they have?
Avery Williamson.
Avery Williamson's the only player that they have.
Jordan Jenkins.
And he's
got a ton of players that can come up here. Pull up the freaking roster and take a look at what
he is hurt. He's not 100% healthy.
He's going to be ready.
Not Avery Williamson. There's nobody else. There's nobody else.
What the hell is the point?
There's nobody else behind him.
Point. What's your fucking point?
There's nobody else behind him. You're saying that Avery Williamson's going to be this great guy.
He's a good linebacker. Even before we brought him in.
He's not even healthy.
Oh, my God.
And then who do you have behind him?
All right.
First question. You don't think that's the first question?
All of our starting linebackers are back, though. I mean, if you really think about it. I mean,
who? Avery Williamson.
Everyone that started for us last season. Every linebacker that started for this team last season is back. Every single linebacker that started for this team last season is back. We're talking about people that weren't even playing last season. Yes, Avery Williamson is back. He didn't play last season.
He's the only one that
CJ Mosley is out. CJ Mosley didn't play last season.
Because he didn't want to play for your franchise.
He had a groin injury. He tried to come back on Monday night.
He faked it. He didn't want to have anything to do with your organization. That's the problem here. And you think that I have a problem with it.
Can I jump in?
I think that it's my fault. All I do is report the news. CJ Mosley was the one that quitted on the Jets last year. He was the one that opted out this year, and you guys blame me. That's fucking funny.
I've got one thing to say.
CJ, I expected more from you, man. Like CJ was like CJ Mosley was the one that did this, and like you're telling me that I'm the one that's wrong in this. Wow.
CJ,
That's
I give you props every week. Brother.
wow.
I give you props every week because you bring on great guests. Every week we get intelligent, we get rational, we get smart football guys, we get film guys, we get guys that are steeped in history and tradition of this team. This guy, I don't know who this guy is.
CJ, I'm disappointed in you, bro.
I'm just gonna be honest
This
with
is
you.
how it's gonna end, man.
I'm going to apologize.
All I want is the best for the Jets. And if you're
like
gonna do me like this, wow.
But this cat right now, I'm not even sure if we can maintain a logical stream of content with this.
Because you'd actually get views. Because people would actually view your shit, and you're afraid to actually get multiple views. You're afraid to be put in the spotlight, pussy.
Did he really just do that?
Okay.
Listen, John, there's no need
No,
for
no,
that.
no, 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 no. If you guys don't want to speak.
Yeah, you know
Did
what?
that really just happen though? I mean, did that really just jump off that way? Like the dude has really been playing himself literally for an hour and some change, and then he wants to, the dude wants to do that?
Yeah, I'm.
Oh my Lord, have mercy! Did that really just
Ladies
happen?
and gentlemen, I had to remove John because this is just ridiculous. I mean, we went from having a spirited debate about different things, and it just completely turned into a train wreck here. So I do want to apologize for that. I mean, hey, look, Giff has a football podcast that he does on YouTube, and some of the stuff that he puts out there is actually, somewhat decent. And I really thought that he was going to bring that here, and instead he's just spewing nothing but Jets hate and just disdain for the for the franchise. I mean, granted,
we have guys. CJ, you know this. We have guys that are diehard Bills fans that don't disrespect the conversation that gentleman, or if I call him that, just did. Look, I'm just gonna say, look, we'll chalk it up as a bad one. At this point in time, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not even really sure. I'm like stunned. Like, did that really just happen? Usually, we have great conversation, we have great content. We get input from folks that follow and watch. That I don't know what that was.
Yeah. Wow. Well, our comments on Facebook are absolutely going crazy. Simon Baccarella actually texting in, can you have him on again next week? Errol Marks has just absolutely been going off in the comments. Oh my goodness. And then Rockaway Archie, shout out to him as he chimed in on the as he chimed in on the conversation here. Just he wanted to know if CJ Mosley actually faked the surgery as well. So it just like, look, I had to drop John because I just I mean, it's one thing to all right, look, real talk, okay? It's one thing to come on the show and to disagree with whether this player is going to step up or that player is going to step up or the other player is going to step up. And look, I got a lot of respect for John and what he does on his YouTube channel and so on and so forth. But the reason why I brought him on tonight is because I find his views on the team fascinating. And what I mean by fascinating is that how do you sit there and call yourself a Jet fan, yet you trash the front office, you trash the players that are on this team, you trash everything about the organization, but yet you're a Jet fan. So now I had no idea, ladies and gentlemen, that this conversation, this interview with him tonight was going to make this turn. And I do apologize. I did have to drop him. I had to drop him altogether from it because one thing for sure, I don't appreciate somebody coming on this show and calling my co-host names. Because if you don't look, if you want to say you're disappointed in me as a host, you go ahead. You fire all the bullets you want. I'm a man. I'm 48. Okay? I can take it. I've been doing this friggin' podcast for almost 8 years. Okay? I take the slings and the arrows as well as all the pats on the back. But the one thing you will not do is you will not come on my show and you will insult my co-host and talk over him and act like that your opinion is the only opinion.
I'm not insulted.
And that
I'm not
everybody else is
insulted.
trash.
I'm not insulted. I'm disappointed because it wasn't even a good argument. You know what I'm saying? If somebody wants to, we want to get heated because of a good argument, that's one thing. But don't just be a dumbass.
Right. I mean, toward the end of the show, before he's sitting there saying, "Oh, well, let's end it on something before I go to bed." It's like, okay, I was trying to get into another segment here in which I wanted to get his opinion. And then instead we just rattle off on tangent after tangent. And it's just ridiculous. It's not a good look.
Not even
now look, if John wants to do that on his show, that's his show.
You know what? This is the thing, CJ. Again, I appreciate you, you standing up and saying what you say. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm 240 pounds. He doesn't want none of that from me, and it's easy for him to sit there behind his little laptop and say whatever it is that he says, especially because he's not necessarily able to keep up with the conversation. I don't think I heard him actually say much of anything that really made sense other than what it is that you kind of just get from base conversation anywhere. So he wasn't really adding anything like that to the conversation. What I'm disappointed most in is that we put together these shows, CJ, man, you and I, and we try to add value to the conversation, and that dude is taking up space. How do you get a podcast and a laptop to take up space and it's just in a vacuum? I'll say this. I know you said he does some things on his show. I might even check it out because I might have to just call in. I mean, does he have call-ins? I mean, I hit him up and we can discuss football. We can discuss functional football. We can discuss team building. We can discuss all of that. But what he couldn't do is come here and discuss it, because this is not playtime. It's not a game thing here.
Right.
Anyway, if we're ready to move on, because that dude is I don't know. That's block. I'm done.
Yeah. It just I'm disappointed because I expected that John was going to bring something of substance. I mean, look, everybody knows, like, the guests that I bring on, they may or may not agree with the views that we have on this show, and they may or may not agree with the opinions that both Kevin and I have on the New York Jets, and that's fine. We welcome the debate. We welcome the substance. But when you're going to sit there and start quoting quote unquote rumors that, oh, CJ Mosley faked his groin injury because he doesn't want to play for this franchise. Oh, Jamal Adams basically told everybody the truth and the Jets felt exposed, and that's why the Jets traded him away. And the kicker. CJ Mosley didn't opt out this year because of COVID-19, not because he's worried about his elderly mother and possibly transmitting the virus to her from being in training camp. He doesn't want to play because he just doesn't want to play for the New York Jets.
This guy has already taken.
I mean,
up,
it's just
this guy's already taken up enough oxygen. I just feel like I just want to flush him and just wrap this up. And I will say this, and I mean I know some commentary maybe tends to be negative here because we're talking about the Jets. But the one thing that you're never going to get from us here, you're never going to get somebody say your team sucks. If something goes on here, something's bad here, it's still my team. That dude, man, I don't know where did that even come from, man? It's still my team. I love the Jets. We've been a bad team. We haven't always been that way. We try to get back now. Let's focus, man, on that. Really, that stuff right there, that doesn't add anything to the conversation other than noise, man.
So, well, in any event, Kevin, it's your time to shine, my friend.
In the spotlight with Kevin Jackson.
Please cheer me up and tell me who you got in the spotlight this week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on the White Hot Spotlight, Weapons Hot broadcast it's Marcus May. We talked a lot tonight about the impact that Jamal Adams exit from this team is going to affect it. We also talked a little bit about how Bradley McDougald coming in is going to change how it is that we do what it is that we do. We talked about Ashton Davis, the draft pick, coming in and being effective and possibly being able to add some of what it is that we lost in losing Jamal Adams. The biggest, I guess, linchpin in how all of those things work well, I have to say, I think, is Marcus May. Marcus May coming into his third season, spent a lot injured, played fairly well, I want to say, his rookie season before he really got hurt, and then really did that last season, coming to fourth season. The last season he played very well. I think Marcus May is going to be an impact player for us. I think his role is going to change a little bit, and this is why he's in the spotlight this week, because I think as Jets fans, if we really want to kind of piece together why you expect Gregg Williams to put it together, I think watching Marcus May and what Marcus May is going to do, I think is going to show a lot, because he does have the ability. I mean, what he had a couple of sacks, some pass defenses, some tackles at the line of scrimmage. He does have the ability to play down in that area. That gives us quite a bit of flexibility, especially considering what Brian Poole brings to the table, what Ashton Davis will bring to the table, hopefully what it is that we're going to get from Bradley McDougald, who is, again, a starting caliber safety, but is also very good at pass defense. So maybe that might give us a little bit of an opportunity to see Marcus May become a little more dynamic and actually be that second round pick that finally ends up being a guy that latches on here and does well for us. Look, the thing I'm thinking about, 6 foot, 207 pounds. If my math is correct, I just had it here. He had how many tackles? Excuse me, I just lost the page. I was over here losing myself and listening to but I half a sack, 70-something tackles, I believe it what it was. I had to find it. Excuse me, I'm flustered, y'all. Marcus May is in the spotlight this week because he's an X factor, guys. I mean, a lot of us maybe thought that Jamal Adams was going to be the one that was going to stay and be one of the focal points and one of the foundational pieces for this defense. I think now that Jamal Adams is gone, I think that mantle falls to Marcus May, and I think that we've seen that he has the capability of doing it. Maybe some folks will have some questions about his durability. I don't at this point. I think, injuries happen, but it's not like he's injured every single week. There's always something. He had the one, it was kind of major, or the two, excuse me, it was kind of major, and then he's back. I don't necessarily feel like Marcus May is a liability at this point because of that. Let's put it that way. Marcus May is in the spotlight, man. I'm sorry I didn't have the numbers. Please excuse me. It's been a rough night, but I don't know, CJ. What do you think?
Yeah, Marcus May definitely has the potential. I see you over there. I can't even.
I'm sorry.
I can't. Oh, that is the joys of doing a live broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, is that we get to bring you gold like this. You get to hear stupidity at its finest, and we put it on display tonight. And I promise I will get to my Marcus May point in a second. But holy cow, ladies and gentlemen, I do invite you to go check out the Gift Up Football podcast. Really, okay? If you guys really want to get at our guest, who I unceremoniously had to boot because he called my co-host a pussy, okay? By all means, go check him out. Fire all your bullets and go weapons hot. Go for it.
Oh, man.
Now,
okay.
That being said, turn our attention to Marcus May. Marcus May has the potential to be not only an X factor, but to also be the factor in this New York Jets defense. He is much better in coverage than he was a little bit in regards to Jamal Adams, okay? And statistically speaking, I'm going to go back to Jamal Adams' rookie year, side by side with Marcus May. Statistically, Marcus May was having a much better season than Jamal Adams that year and probably would have made the Pro Bowl had he not gotten hurt. Now, That being said, I'm not taking anything away from Jamal Adams. This is not a dig at Jamal Adams. This is not a diss on Jamal Adams. I love Jamal Adams. I wish he was still a New York Jet. But we understand that football is a business, and we had to move on from that point. And the thing is that when we keep circling back around and being fixated on Jamal Adams, we take away from the real guys on this team that also have a hand in making this defense good. And Marcus May is one of them. And I truly believe that if Marcus May can stay healthy this season, okay, that he can have a very serious impact on the New York Jets secondary, and also will be deployed in many different ways, that Gregg Williams will make Marcus May an integral part of this defense the same way that he did with Jamal Adams. Exactly. Will he have the same production that Jamal Adams gave us last year? We don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, and we're not going to know anything until the rubber meets the road. Okay? But
just one thing, because this is kind of a point. With Marcus May, we get that solid safety play with all of that extra swag about who's going to get paid as top in the league. I think Marcus May is probably going to end up being a better fit for us than Jamal Adams, even though Jamal Adams, for all intents and purposes, is going to have be a better player when it's all said and done. He may even have a better statistical career. I think Marcus May is going to ball here, man. When it comes time for us to start getting fitted for them rings in 3-4 years, I'm hoping Marcus May is a guy that we're going to be looking at and saying, yeah, he was the draft pick that made it to the second contract. This is the guy that we want to pay. This is the guy that came in and did it right. So I'm looking forward to that in particular. I like Marcus May. I'm really hoping that I'm really hoping that he kind of fills out this season into who it is that we hope that he can be.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, because I think that Marcus May will be able to step up along with Ashton Davis. That also means that Ashton Davis is going to have to learn this Gregg Williams defense a little bit quicker than anticipated. But I don't foresee that being a problem, because I think that Ashton Davis can, in fact, come in and can, in fact, contribute right away. I don't think the Jets would have selected him in the third round if they thought that he wasn't ready or he wasn't a good fit for a Gregg Williams defense. And we saw it last year. We saw a lot of players on this Gregg Williams defense that actually went out and actually performed very well because Williams went and put them in the best possible positions to succeed. So that being said, we're not going to know anything until the rubber meets the road. But right now, as far as paper is concerned, it does look quite enticing. It really does. Now, practices this week, padded practices are going to be happening. It's going to be very interesting to see, everything we're finally going to start seeing guys hit each other. So also another thing too, I also want to remind people that don't be surprised if the injury list starts to grow again, which again, I then put that at the feet of the New York Jets strength and conditioning department and make sure that those bums over there are doing their jobs to make sure that these guys stay healthy, fix whatever nicks that they get, so that way they're ready to go for week one, and not that we're not going into week one being anything less than 100%.
Yeah, I'm expecting there to be a few nicks. I guess just like as in all the reporting you see, like they said, we haven't been practicing, we haven't played any football since December, so it's been quite a bit. Not to mention the fact that the limitations just because of COVID. The one thing that I think that I am a little bit more maybe comfortable with is the fact that we have added some depth beyond where it is that we were last season. With a lot of the injuries that we had, I'll just keep it real. Some of the guys that came in played better than some of the guys that we had starting, like at the center position when Khalil went out, we actually got better production from that guy. When Winters went out, we started to see Lewis and those guys step in, and we got actually better production from those guys. It actually also helped, like when you think C.J. Mosley was out, Avery Williamson out, we got Burgess, and we got those guys stepping in and being able to start and play and get meaningful reps, and those guys are now better for it. Listening to old buddy talk earlier about how bad they were, you got to think we're talking about guys that are coming back that we're really excited about. But the starters from our defense last season basically are all here. I mean, if you really think about it, we didn't lose anybody. So I think we're in a much better position than maybe we are being given credit for, but I don't want to be too overly optimistic and say that, you know, we're going to be able to replicate it. We had a great season last year. It's going to be difficult to replicate it without having the additions, you know, kind of make their own impact, like the new safeties and like the new cornerbacks. So we'll see how that works too.
Yep, absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for tonight's episode of Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast. I would like to thank everyone who took the time out to view us live tonight and to interact with us on the on the show here tonight. And you know, everyone's kind of laughing about the show's title tonight, called The Gift. Okay, well, it was supposed to be The GIF. So. But unfortunately, you know, that was a little bit of a typo, but I'm sure that we gave everybody a gift, and this is a gift that's going to keep on giving with the laughs and and maybe
I'm coming back on Tuesday.
the angry responses. So, and so.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
But in any event,
if I just want to I apologize for all of the people that watch that normally interact and know me. If I was unprofessional in any way this evening, I'm sorry. I was kind of thrown off a little bit, and you know, we respect the platform, and obviously I respect CJ and the show and all that. I'm sorry, but what the hell just happened? Okay, I'm done. Excuse me. Oh man.
So, but in any event, you can follow the show on Twitter at CNC Jets Factor. You can follow me at JetsFan0523. My partner in crime on the other side of the glass at Spotty Blackman. Also, don't forget to go over to Spreaker.com/Sports War Radio to check us out there. Also, we have a YouTube channel, and our broadcasts are also televised there as well. You could also catch us on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Be sure to go to that page on Facebook, like that page. Okay, and check off the notifications box. So every time that the Worldwide Sports Radio Network goes live, we can go ahead, you can go ahead and jump into all the fun. They have a ton of great shows on that channel, and I do recommend that everybody goes and check them out. Also, other places you can find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page as well. We love going back and forth with people about this team and talking about this team. Also, leave us some feedback, because we love to hear how you, the fan, think that we're doing over here on the Weapons Hot broadcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have to say for this evening. I cannot believe that the show took the kind of turn that it did. I was extremely patient at parts when I really wanted to go on a cursing tirade. I did my best to try to keep this as clean as possible. And I do apologize if I offended anybody with the language that was said over here, or that if anybody was offended with the language. So,
we'll be better next week.
Yes. And speaking of which, announcement for next week, and I'm super excited about this. Okay, the Know Thy Enemy series. It is coming. Part 1. Next week, we feature the Miami Dolphins with Mr. Brian Catanzaro from the On the Fin Side podcast. He will be joining us. Be sure to stay tuned to social media for details on that. This is our series that we take a great deal of pride in, and I cannot wait to showcase the AFC East, as we're going to have a lot of questions for our guests as we bring them on. So, for Kevin, Mr. Spotty Blackman Jackson on the other side of the glass over there, who I'm sure is probably going to do a shot of tequila after he hangs up. Dude. This is CJ, the Big Killer D. Simone, signing off for you guys. We will see you guys when we see you guys. Really quick, just another shout out to my boy, Sergeant Munoz. Safe trip over to Germany, dude. Yes. I love you. Be safe. No shout out to the 45th Medical Group. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. Peace. Jets, 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 baby.